Today, I'm going to show you how to build your unit assessments in DMAC. So we're going to begin by logging in. When you get to the DMAC home screen, you're going to go to the local assessment portion and you're going to click on tag. This is the assessment generator. So right here, I'm going to click on this icon right here to create new test. And what'll come up, you may have a pretty long list of available assessments. Right now, we are not going to get into that. What we're going to do is we're going to create a new assessment. So we're going to go over here to the right and we're going to click on this yellow, orange plus sign. So here you're going to put in the title for your assessment. I'm going to go ahead and create one for 3rd grade ELA. So I'm going to follow this format for the titles, grade 3, and I'm going to go with the subject, and I'm going to go with unit 2. I'm going to create the unit 2. And the title of this unit is Discovering Other Literary Genres. Under keywords, I would like you to use the school year for all your unit assessments this year. So we're going to put in 2017, 2018. This just means when we're searching for our assessments, we can search by keyword and make sure we're pulling up all these assessments for this year. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add test assessment items. So we're going to go to the right over here and click on the green add button. I'm going to fill in the correct information. I want English Language Arts, and I'm going to go to ELA grade 3, and I'm going to look for test items in English. This pulls up a fairly large test bank. There's different item types. You'll see right here, these are tag assessments. They're just some assessment items that are in here through DMAC. You'll see this, so it says TEKS RS. These are TEKS resource items. And then you'll also scroll down and you'll find TEA. These are released STAR test items. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to go over to your SEs and click on all the different SEs. Instead, we're going to filter and we're going to find just the TEKS resource unit assessment items. So right here, you'll see it says TEKS RS unit. I'm going to filter out by just the unit 2 items. Remember, we're going to use the unit assessments. So now we have just the Unit 2 assessment items. As you can see, you might still have a fairly large list. You do not have to use every single item that is on the test. I will also say I'm not going to have a set number that you have to have 20 questions or you have to have 10 questions. I think that it's going to depend on the unit, how many items or how many standards are taught within that unit. It's also going to depend if it's a majority supporting or if there's a lot of readiness standards. So having said that, I have to choose what questions I want to use. So I'm going to preview the questions. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead and save it. Always save. Sorry, I'm going to preview up top. Okay, so now I'm going to preview all of the questions that are currently in. Well, it's going a little slow this morning. You know what? I forgot to add the test items, that's why. You need to make sure you click up here in this left-hand corner to add them and click the add button, then save. I always save just to be safe. So now I can go to preview. There we go, sorry. So now we'll go to preview and I can look at all the questions. So I'm gonna look through the questions. I will choose which ones I would like to be on the assessment. Sometimes you can look at the type of a question there to just make that decision, but I highly suggest looking at the answer key up here. and looking at the standards, which ones they are assessing. Because sometimes you'll see some standards have multiple questions and you may not need to assess it that many times. For example, at the bottom here, we have 10A assessed twice and it's a supporting standard, and I don't feel that I would like to test that standard multiple times. So again, you'll be able to look at the key, you'll be able to look at the questions and decide which ones are best. Now I have to make those changes, and I'm going to do it directly here in DMAC. So I'm going to go to this edit button and I'm going to do multi-delete. So I'm glad this happened because this happens to me almost every single time I click on the multi-delete, it comes back blank. So what I have found, a little troubleshooting, if I get out of it, go into home and go back into my test, if you go to test type and go to user, it'll pull up your assessments. You can also search by the name and content area. But here I find my assessment, I can go back and edit it. I don't know why, but now it pulls up. That has happened to me often. So here I can remove all the questions that I decided I didn't want to keep. So I'm just going to pick a few and I'm going to delete them. I'm going to push save again. Once I push save, the good thing is it has already updated my key for me to reflect the changes I made. If you want to reorder your questions, all you have to do is move them around, drag and drop, and it'll let you put it in any order. Just remember to save. So once you've created your assessment and put them in the order you like, it's time to make some formatting changes. So what I will do is I will go click on the print icon. And there's 3 options in editing your assessments for formatting. You can edit it directly here in DMAC. However, I'll be honest with you, that's not my favorite option. Sometimes it still prints a little funky, so I'm going to go ahead and skip to option number 2. So if you go up to this right-hand corner, you'll see a Word doc icon. If you click on that, it automatically turns this test into a Word document. Okay, so here you can make some changes to the formatting. I'm going to get a better view. I like looking at the print layout. So you will see these blue boxes, and that's okay. They're just showing you the area you have to work in. They won't print that way. So sometimes I just like to make some formatting changes to the title. I may want to increase the font size. I do that often. Sometimes it prints pretty small. I also like to add some space in between the questions. See, if you look here, DMAC would have printed this with question number 4 starting on this page and ending on the next page. We definitely don't want that to happen. So once you do that, you can save it as a Word document. You can also save it as a PDF, which I'm going to want you to put into our Google Drive folder, and I'll show you that next step in just a minute. Before I save, I always like to go to the print preview to make sure I like the way it's going to print. Like you see, number 10 is not in a good spot. There's some spacing issues, so you could easily go back and change that. So another option we have, for those of you who are Google fans, is we can use Google Docs. So I'm going to click on the clipboard icon, and what it has done is it's copied this whole test for me. So I'm going to go back into Google Drive. I'm going to create a new Google Doc. And I'm just going to click paste, and I'm just going to paste this test directly into the Google Doc. So this is another user-friendly option for editing formatting. So again, I could do the same things and I can save it. And if you look right here, you can even download it as a PDF. So having said that, when you are formatting this, whether it be in Google Drive or if it is in Word, you can only make formatting changes. You cannot move questions around because that's going to mess up your key in the tag piece of DMAC. So again, it's only there to make formatting changes if you need to change some of the wording, but you cannot manipulate and move the answers or questions and answers around. So once you have saved your document or your assessment as a PDF, you are going to put it in our unit assessment folder. So your AP either has or will soon share this unit assessment folder. You will have your grade level. So say this is grade 3. I'm going to move this to grade 3. And I can move it to the ELA folder. So it will be in there. You will have access and all your other teachers will have access. So I'm going to take us back to DMAC now. So once you have created your assessment, you built it in DMAC, you made any formatting changes you need to go do, you are going to come back in here, and now we need to move it to TEAC score. TEAC score is the portion of DMAC that helps us get the answers input, whether it be through scanning or through the online response system. So DMAC has made this really easy for us. Up top, you'll see this TEAC score icon. When you click it, it automatically takes you to the TEAC score portion of DMAC. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill out the grade level, and you have to give it a numerical version. It's almost like a title. I like us to all follow this format. So it's grade 3, so I'm going to start with the 3, and it's the Unit 2 assessment. So I'm going to click in 0, 2. It always needs to be 3 numbers. So if it was Unit 10, it would be version 310. Under the date, you will click an approximate date that this assessment will be given. If it's off, if it's not exact, that's okay, no worries. We're going to keep the passing standard at 70% for our unit assessments, and then we're going to click Save. So now it's going to bring us to the content piece. Since we already created this, it already has the subject area and already has the course. If you click on the key, you're able to make some changes to the key. I strongly suggest you double check. Occasionally, there will be some errors in DMAC with assigning the correct TEAC, the correct standard to the question. So always you need to double check those. You can also look at the dual coding. So if you wanted to make a change, you just click and it pulls them up for you. When you click on history, it just shows you who and when changes were made. You can also click on editors. So if you're creating an assessment for your whole team, you can click on your team members. You can also give me access to your assessment and click on my name. So once that's done, you're going to click on the right at this paper icon. What this does is this approves, it basically tells you that it's ready to have to be scored. It can be scored. Everything's finalized. So you can click on which bubble sheet you want if you're choosing to scan, and you just have to click this approve button. So this warning sign is just telling you, hey, you're saying this is done. If you add and remove any test items, if you make any changes, you will have to completely redo this. So that's completed. So now you've created the assessment. You have a test key and a test form has been approved. So now what do you do when you're ready to give the assessment? So there's 2 options for this. If you are deciding you want to give out a bubble form for children to bubble in, you go to test forms. You'll find your campus. I'm actually going to go ahead and choose Autumn. Autumn, I know you have assessment in here, so I'm going to go to my name or Autumn's name, click the grade level, click semesters, and then it's going to bring up your classes. Click which class or all classes you would like to print Scantrons for. We are not going to run a test. Then it's going to list up all your test keys. Now don't worry, you won't have this long list. I just have access to all these, so it shows, but it'll only show the assessments you have access to. So I'm going to pull Autumn's right here, 501, 5th grade, Unit 1, Social Studies. And here it has it listed for all her kids, so she will just have to print these out. So our other option is to do this electronically. I'm going to go back to that third grade assessment, and I want to make it possible for my kids to go online and put in their answers. So what I will do, Unit 2, that's the test key we created. There's a little person right here. If I click on it, I'm enabling students to put in their answers online. So I will attach another document for you guys that'll come to you later that will show how your kids can actually go online and access this online answer form. But just know you will need an ID number for the test, and this is where you will find it. So basically, that's all when it comes to building your assessment. If you have any more questions regarding building your unit assessments, please do not hesitate to give me a call or send me an email. Thank you for joining me today, and good luck.